Hello, welcome to the Daily Bible Podcast. My name is William Hemsworth. Thank you so much for joining me for today's program. Well, we're continuing on in Matthew chapter 13, and today we're going to finish up the parable of the weeds among wheat. And Matthew chapter 13 is full of parables. We're going to see many more in the coming days through this chapter. And it's just a way that Jesus taught that people were able to put in everyday terms. So I think it's also something we could learn from. But today we're going to look at verses 26 through 30. Again, this is the parable of the weeds among wheat, Matthew chapter 13, 26 through 30. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared also. And the servants of the householder came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then has it weeds? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servants said to him, Then do you want us to go and gather them? But he said, No, lest in gathering the weeds you root up the wheat along with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and at harvest time I will tell the reapers, Gather the weeds first, and bind them in bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into the barn. Now, like we said yesterday, this weed named darnel looks just like wheat in the very early stages of growth. So when they're growing right next to each other, you can't tell the difference. It's very hard to tell the difference until they're mature. It's hard to tell the difference until they're mature. So the young weeds and the young blades of wheat look the same. And like I said just a second ago, they can't be distinguished. In this case, weeds are those who reject the gospel. And the wheat are those who accept the gospel. They're the Christians, the believers. See, but we have to live side by side with non-believers in this world, guys. We have to live side by side with them. God allows unbelievers to remain for a while. And just as a farmer allows weeds to remain in his field, the farmer allows weeds to remain in the field so the wheat isn't uprooted. But at the harvest, the weeds will be uprooted and thrown away. At the harvest, this wheat, this darnel, is going to be uprooted. It's going to be thrown into the fire. Again, those are those who reject the gospel. Now, those believers be put into the barn. Of course, that's our eternal reward, heaven, etc. So let me ask you guys a question. If you believe in Christ, do you still look like the weed? Do you still look like the weed? I think it's a great question to ask, and something we could all reflect on. Don't get me wrong, there's certainly times where we're going to mess up, and thank God for His forgiveness. Are we striving to be more Christ-like? Do our friends, family know that we're Christians by the way that we're living? Or is it a surprise when we tell them, yeah, we're Christians? If that's the case, it may be an indication that you're a weed among the wheat. Let's get our life right. God bless you. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Daily Bible Podcast. And we'll catch you tomorrow where we talk about start discussing the parable of the mustard seed. So God bless you. Thank you for listening each and every day. Have a fantastic day. God bless.